अस्सलाम वालेकुम। आज आपकी मुलाकात डॉक्टर तलत अफजा से मनी एंड बैंकिंग के 13वें लेक्चर में हो रही है। इससे पहले कि हम आज का लेक्चर शुरू करें, आई वुड लाइक टू रिवाइज कि हमने पिछले लेक्चर में क्या क्या टॉपिक कवर किए। रिवीजन से पहले भी मैं आपको एक चीज सजेस्ट करना चाहूंगी कि पिछले लेक्चर में भी हमने बात की रिस्क की। उसके बारे में हमने ये कहा कि प्रोबेबिलिटी डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन इज वन गुड हेल्प टू कैलकुलेट और मेजर द रिस्क, और से रिलेटेड हमारे पास न्यूमेरिकल प्रॉब्लम्स भी हैं। तो देयरफॉर आई विल एडवाइज कि यू शुड ट्राई टू सॉल्व ऑल द क्वेश्चंस गिवन एंड ऑफ द चैप्टर टू हैव मोर एक्सपीरियंस एंड एक्सपर्टीज इन द कैलकुलेशन ऑफ रिस्क। आज हम रिस्क से हटकर एक नया टॉपिक शुरू करने वाले हैं, दैट इज रिलेटेड टू द इशू ऑफ द बॉन्ड। लेकिन इससे पहले विल जस्ट गो बैक अ बिट एंड कोशिश करेंगे कि हम रिकैप कर लें कि हमने रिस्क के बारे में क्या क्या मेन टॉपिक्स जो हैं वो कवर किए थे बिफोर वी गो फॉर प्रैक्टिसिंग द न्यूमेरिकल्स। तो रिस्क के बारे में सबसे पहले वी टॉक्ड अबाउट द डेफिनेशन ऑफ द रिस्क, कि रिस्क होता क्या है। कि जब हम एक इन्वेस्टमेंट करते हैं इन फ्यूचर एंड वी नो दैट द फ्यूचर इज अनसर्टेन, so the uncertainty which is related to the future basically is the basic reason behind the risk. Uncertainty regarding the return on an investment which we are going to receive in future relative to a benchmark among a group of investment alternatives. This is how we define risk. Risk is related to the future, uncertainty among the payments we are going to receive, and of course among a group or a set of investment opportunities. तो इस सारे कुछ में जब हम रिस्क के बारे में बात करते हैं तो we need to make certain forecast about the futures, और वो forecast about the future जो है that is done based on the probability distribution. प्रोबेबिलिटी डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन में हमने ये कहा कि सबसे पहले वी टॉक अबाउट ऑल पॉसिबल आउटकम्स एंड वी से व्हाट आर द पॉसिबिलिटीज, वी लिस्ट डाउन ऑल द पॉसिबिलिटीज। देन वी टॉक अबाउट द प्रोबेबिलिटी दैट ईच वन ऑफ दोज पॉसिबिलिटीज विल टेक प्लेस। सो वी टॉक अबाउट द पॉसिबल आउटकम्स और द पे ऑफ्स एंड देन respective probabilities of those payoffs or the outcomes. Then we also said probabilities can never be negative. At the most, they will assume the values in between 0 and 1. So probability will be 0 for an impossible event, and the probability will be 1 for a certain event. And then we talk about tossing of a coin and then calculating the probabilities and the payoffs related with the tossing of a coin. And then we said that when we know the possible outcomes and the probabilities attached to each outcome, we can calculate what is known as expected value, the expected future, in other words. And when we talk about the risk, how do we do that? Still, we need help, we take guidance from the probability distribution again. But what measures to calculate the risk? We said there are two possible measures for the quantification of our risk. Because when we talked about different characteristics of the risk, the very first characteristic was that risk can be quantified, which means we can measure the risk. That is the first characteristics of the risk. Second, as I already said, कि हमारा risk जो है that is related to the future, and then the risk is in relation to certain benchmark, and there we said कि benchmark can be a risk-free investment. Risk-free in the sense the probability of the default is minimum possible, and there we said कि for risk-free we take a proxy, और वो proxy क्या है हमारी? Proxy है the interest on the T-bills. So having all of these characteristics, how can we measure the risk? Then we said that there are two main measures for calculation of the risk. One is the standard deviation or the variance, and the other is value at risk. The most commonly used measure of risk is our standard deviation. And prior to the standard deviation, we calculate the variance first. So how do we calculate the variance? The variance basically is, first of all, we calculate the expected value. That is probability distribution, all possible outcomes, and then relative to each outcome, we have the probability of that outcome. And then we multiply each outcome with the probability, adding them together gives us the expected value. So that value is which, or is the point. Then we can take each possible outcome, and then from each possible outcome, we subtract the expected value. Meaning thereby, what are we trying to do? We are trying to look at the deviations. Now the deviations from the mean is our expected value. So from the expected value, we look at the each possible outcome and see the difference, and that difference is the deviation. So there is a possibility of having a negative deviation and a positive deviation. Therefore, in order to take care of the negative deviation, we take the square of it. So we take deviations and the square deviation from the mean, and then we multiply those deviations by the probabilities, the respective probability, and we add them together. That gives us the variance. Now the variance is in the square term, whereas our original payoffs can be in terms of any unit, but the variance is the unit squares. Therefore, if we take the square root of the variance, we come up with what is known as the standard deviation. So the standard deviation now is in the same unit as of your payoffs. If the payoffs are in dollars, then the standard deviation is also in dollars. If the payoffs are in number of units, then our standard deviation is also in number of units. Then we talked about the second measure of the risk, and that we said variance at risk. Now here we are talking about the possibility, the risk that the worst outcome is going to take place. Because sometimes individuals, they are not interested that much in the overall variations as measured by the variance or the standard deviation. There are situations where the individuals are more interested at the worst possible outcome. There we took the example of the house loan, that if we are unable to make the payment, then what will happen? The house is mortgaged in the name of the company who has given us the loan. So if we are unable to make the payment, there is every possibility that we are going to lose the house. So the worst possible outcome was losing that particular house. Then we took another example of car leasing, and we said that if we are unable to make a payment, because if we are talking about the monthly payment, when we lease a car, what happens? If we default on the payment, the car is registered on the name of the company from where we have taken the loan. So it's not the property of the individual. So what's going to happen? They'll take the car away from us, and we are going to lose whatever we have earlier paid for. After the measurement, we wanted to talk about what are the various sources of risk. And we said there can be so many different sources of risk, but broadly speaking, we can divide all of these sources into two broad categories. Under these two broad categories, we talked about one category which is known as the systematic risk, and then another category which we can classify as the unsystematic risk. The kind of unsystematic risk is also known as the specific risk, specific to a one particular firm or the business. Whereas when we are talking about this systematic risk, there we are talking about a scenario in which a general condition in the economy is going to influence the working and the productivity, efficiency, and the performance of one individual business. They said, okay, there is inflation and be harmful for the economy as a whole. When we talk about systematic, we say it's specific to one particular company only. Here we said we can talk about a scenario in which we have one company ABC and then its share in the overall market. Now, due to the company's own performance, internal policies, if the market share of that company shrinks, whereas the total share of that particular sector, and then we took the example of the automobile. So, if the total share of the automobile sector remains the same, but the share of the company shrinks, that is going to be classified as the idiosyncratic or the unsystematic risk or the specific risk. But due to the general economic conditions, if the total share of the automobile decreases, but the percentage share of that company in the new market share of the automobile sector remains the same, we call it as the systematic risk. In order to avoid the systematic risk, the companies and the individuals, they cannot do anything. Whereas when we are talking about the specific or the idiosyncratic risk, there we can say the company's policies and the performance can change that particular scenario. And then we said, okay, once we know how we can measure the risk and what are the sources of risk, is there any possibility that we can do something to minimize this? And we are talking about hedging this, minimize this, hedging it. But what kind of strategies we have? That is, we can minimize the risk through diversification. In diversification, we talk about investing in more than one alternatives. A famous saying that do not put all of your eggs in one basket. Try to spread your risk over more opportunities. If the performance of one is not good, but the performance of other is good, then on average, the performance of your investment will not be badly affected. Talking about the specific techniques used for diversification, we said there are two possibilities or two possible strategies. One is hedging, the other is spread risk. In hedging, we talk about two investment strategies. The general change in market condition going to help increase the return of one investment and decrease the return on the other investment. That we are talking about two different investment opportunities in which if the one is performing good, the other is performing bad, on average, we are not that worse off. So we are trying to find out the investment opportunities in which the return of two investments, they move in the opposite direction. So that is known as the hedging. But when we look at the real life scenario, it becomes kind of difficult to find out the investment opportunities and the possibilities. The return or the payoff, they move the option. Then the alternative is spreading of risk. In spreading of risk, we are trying to find out those investment opportunities in which the payoffs are unrelated. Means that if one is performing good, other perform are totally related to the point of the investment. We are not about in those opportunities in which moves in the direction. Other return or the payoffs dependent on each other are called vertical spreading of the risk. Then we said, okay, what is the concept of the risk aversion and the risk premium? In the concept of risk aversion and the risk premium, we said, when we compare a risky investment with a risk-free investment, risk-free is taken as treasury bill for the risk-free. So the premium which is over and above the risk-free rate is known as the risk premium. And we said higher the risk, higher is the return. So this was the discussion about the risk. Now today we are going to talk about the financial instruments. Try to recall initially, जब हमने बात शुरू की थी financial system की, then we said there are important parts of the financial systems. One was money, number 2 was financial institutions, financial markets, then financial instruments, and then financial. So today we are going to take another start in discussing the financial instrument in details. तो जब हम बात करते हैं financial instruments की, there we said there are various types of financial instruments. उन financial instruments में हमारे पास stocks, bonds और उसके अलावा any instrument which is issued by the financial intermediaries. Financial intermediaries are basically the financial institutions. So today we'll stick to the financial instruments, and among the class of the financial instrument we'll do a detailed discussion once again on the bond. उसमें जब हम bond की बात करेंगे, we'll talk about the usefulness of the bond, various types of the bonds, what are the characteristics of the bond, then how do we measure the yield on the bond, on the return on the bond, because whenever an investor make an investment in any financial instrument, what is the objective? The objective is to earn certain return on it. Therefore, we are going to talk about the calculation of the return on that particular financial instrument known as the bond. तो अगर हमने बॉन्ड को डिफाइन करना हो, इसको एक्सप्लेन करना हो, how can we define it? It's a means of transferring fund from one party to another party. We can also say it's a means by which we transfer financial resources or the funds from one party to another party with the promise that the funds are going to flow back to the original party sometimes in future. Virtually any financial arrangement involving the current transfer of resources from a lender to a borrower with a transfer back at some times in the future is a form of bond. Bond में हमेशा we have two parties involved. One is the issuer of the bond. Now the issuer of the bond is a party who basically is borrowing funds. And then the purchaser of the bond is the investor who has surplus funds. They can make an investment in the bond so that they can have their original investment as well as some return after some times in future. Bonds को daily life में funds भी देंगे, ये कहा कि हमारी जो है income. So whenever जब हमारी consumption is less than income, there is something. Things are built from the investors. जो है they are basically supplying on the sources. We hope that they have had some more than the original investment via side. तो हमारी लाइफ में भी we can talk about this scenario individual level पे. हमारे पास कार लोन्स हैं, mortgages हैं. They are the examples of the situation in which हमारे जो financial intermediaries हैं, they provide us with the funds so that we can own a house, we can purchase a car, with the promise that we are going to pay that amount back to the financial intermediary sometimes in future. अब इसी चीज को हम गवर्नमेंट लेवल पे और कारपोरेशन के लेवल पे भी देख सकते हैं. इंडिविजुअल लेवल में तो फंड इस तरह ट्रांसफर होते हैं मोस्टली. तो जब हम गवर्नमेंट लेवल पे बात करते हैं या कारपोरेशंस के लेवल पे बात करते हैं, तो देन what happens again? We have the same scenario that whenever they are in need of funds, they can raise funds by selling the bonds. गवर्नमेंट जो है वो अपने बॉन्ड इश्यू करती है लॉन्ग टर्म अगर फंड्स की जरूरत है, एंड देन द परचेजर ऑफ द बॉन्ड्स दे आर पेड इंटरेस्ट ऑन दैट पर्टिकुलर परचेज ऑफ द बॉन्ड. इसी तरह कारपोरेशंस दे इश्यू द कारपोरेट बॉन्ड्स. Whenever they are in needs of fund, they can issue the bond and they can borrow funds. Now, in all of these examples here, the ease with which individuals, corporations and the governments borrow is essential to the functioning of our economic system. कि जब हमने ये कहा था कि हमारा फाइनेंशियल सिस्टम जो है इसके 5 इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट्स हैं. एक ग्रुप है हमारे सेवर्स का, एक ग्रुप है हमारे इन्वेस्टर्स का. वी डू हैव सरप्लस फंड्स एंड वी डू हैव द इंडिविजुअल्स टू इन्वेस्ट मोर देन व्हाट दे हैव. सो हाउ दिस सिस्टम बेसिकली वर्क? वी हैव an intermediary, financial institutions. They help the flow of funds from the surplus savers unit to the investor units. So flow of funds from one unit to another unit is the basic background for the efficient working of an efficient financial system. And if the funds can efficiently flow from the surplus unit to the investing unit, then it will bring growth in our particular economy. Now, without this free flow of resources through the bond market, the economy would grind to a halt. Okay, if we do not have that system through which the surplus funds can be flowing from one surplus unit to investor unit, then our system, financial system is going to just stop there and then. अब अगर हम बॉन्ड को हिस्टोरिकली देखें तो ओल्ड डेज में monarchs they used to issue the bonds to have more resources. Later on, जो हमारे पास इस वक्त करंट फॉर्म ऑफ द बॉन्ड्स हैं, they were issued by the Dutch to fund their wars. Then later on, England में the government basically refined those bonds and they use it to raise funds for funding the government projects. Nowadays, more or less, each and every government issues bond to fund their activities. So is the countries also bonds for their resources. अब bond basically defined now, तो हम क्या करें? We say a bond certifies effects to be paid and exempt of the payment. Now basically definition of the bond. Now the question arises, how much will we be willing to pay for a particular bond? यानी एक बॉन्ड के लिए हम क्या पे करना चाहेंगे या प्राइस ऑफ द बॉन्ड जो है वो किस तरह डिटरमिन होती है. तो उसके लिए हमारे पास गाइडलाइन के तौर पे ये है कि इट डिपेंड्स ऑन द कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स ऑफ द बॉन्ड, कि बॉन्ड की क्या कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स हैं, उसके मुताबिक वी विल बी विलिंग टू पे अ सर्टेन प्राइस फॉर दैट पर्टिकुलर बॉन्ड. अब इसमें वी कैन गो फॉर 3-4 डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ क्लासिफिकेशन. सबसे पहले हम बात कर सकते हैं जीरो कूपन बॉन्ड की. What basically is a zero coupon bond? A bond on which we do not get any return during the life of the bond. Rather, we are paid the amount which we have paid for the bond at the time of the maturity. Now, does it make sense? कि आज हमने जो पे किया हमें 1 साल के बाद या 2 साल के बाद या 4-5 साल के बाद वही अमाउंट वापस हो जाए. Will you be willing to make such a kind of investment? The answer of course is no. Then how do we determine the price of the bond? Zero coupon bond के ऊपर, since we are not getting anything during the lifetime of the bond, rather we are being paid at maturity. और maturity के ऊपर जो हमें पेमेंट होती है, that is the maturity value of the bond. तो हमारे जो जीरो कूपन बॉन्ड है बेसिकली दे आर नोन एज द डिस्काउंट बॉन्ड, क्योंकि उसके ऊपर अगर हमारी फेस वैल्यू इज 1000, सो नोबडी विल बी विलिंग टू परचेज दोज बॉन्ड्स इन एग्जैक्टली 1000 rupees. We will be willing to pay less today, maybe 900, 950, anything below 1000. And then we will be accepting that 1000 rupees at the time of maturity. अगर 1 साल का बॉन्ड है तो मेच्योरिटी के वक्त हमें 1000 जो है वो मिल जाएगा. And suppose we paid 950 today. So the 950 is the discounted value of the zero coupon bond. Therefore, we also call the zero coupon bonds as the discount bonds. इसकी जो अच्छी एग्जाम्पल हम दे सकते हैं that is of the T-bills. कि टी बिल्स जो है हमारे ट्रेजरी बिल्स, दे आर शॉर्ट टर्म bonds issued by the government with maturity not more than 1 year, or they are always sold at discount. So suppose we want to look at the rate of return on the bond, so how we are going to calculate it? We take what we paid for the bond as a ratio to what we received, multiplied by 100 is the percentage return on the zero coupon bond. Then we talk about another category of the bond, fixed payment loans. They are also one source of transferring fund from one party to another party. जैसे कार के लोन्स हैं हमारे, मॉर्टगेज के लोन्स हैं, they are fixed payment loans. अब fixed payment loans में हम क्या करते हैं कि we amortize the loan over the life of the loan. Today, a financial intermediary provide us with the necessary funds to purchase a car or to purchase a house. And then over a certain period of time, a fixed amount is paid to the financial intermediary. Now that fixed amount has two components. One is the repayment of a loan and the payment of the interest. So this we call it as amortizing the loan over a certain time period. 10 years hai, we are talking about the equal payment. If the payment is made on monthly basis, so monthly same amount is paid for coming 10 years. And that installment basically includes the interest on the loan and a portion as a repayment of the principal amount. Then we talk about the coupon bond. अब what basically is a coupon bond? अब ये जो हमारा coupon bond है, इसके दो component है. एक तो ये है कि regular intervals पे we receive the coupon amount and then at the time of the maturity we receive the principal amount, and that principal amount is the face value of the bond. So in a coupon bond we have a combination of the first two. The zero coupon bond is the payment we received on maturity, and then fixed amount is just like the coupon payment we receive during the life of that particular bond. And then we talk about the console. A console is a kind of bond which gives us the fixed return forever. It does not mature. It doesn't have any maturity period. For an infinite number of periods, we keep on receiving a certain amount as the payment for the purchase of that particular bond. इसको हम कंसोल को परपेचुटी भी कहते हैं. Perpetuity is a stream of income which never matures and the payment is received forever. अब हम इन सारी कैटेगरीज को वन बाय वन थोड़ा सा डिटेल में देखना चाहेंगे. So we start with the zero coupon bond. अब the zero coupon bonds, as I already said, these are pure discount bonds since they sell at a price below their face value. The difference between the selling price and the face value is the return on that particular bond. So the price of such a bond, like a treasury bill called T-bill, is the present value of the future payment. अब इसमें हम वही जो पहले हमने यूज किया था कि किस तरह एक पर्टिकुलर इंस्ट्रूमेंट की करंट प्राइस निकाली जाती है when the payment is received in future. तो उसके लिए हमारे पास वही है the present value formula या discounting of the future payment formula. And there we said the present value is equal to the future value divided by 1 plus I to the power n. So the same formula we are going to use here, and we are saying suppose there is a bond with a face value of 100 and this is a zero coupon bond. So therefore the present value will be 100, which is the face value or the future value, divided by 1 plus I to the power n. I is the interest rate in decimal form and n is the time until the payment is made in the same time unit as the interest rate. आपको याद होगा कि जब पहले भी हमने प्रेजेंट वैल्यू की बात की, वी सेड कि हमारे इंटरेस्ट रेट एंड द टाइम पीरियड दे शुड बी एक्सप्रेस्ड इन द सेम टाइम यूनिट. अगर हमारा इंटरेस्ट पर एनम है तो एन भी एनुअल बेसिस पे होगा. अगर हमारा इंटरेस्ट जो है वो पर एनम है और एन 6 months है तो वी नीड टू डिफाइन इट एज 1/2 years because we are going to express in the same time frame or the time unit. So given n, the price of a bond and the interest rate move in opposite direction. And the same thing is very clear from our formula. We see the price is equal to 100 divided by 1 plus I and then to the power n. Now if we say n is given, so we see a relationship between the interest rate and the price. Because in our numerator, what do we have? In the numerator, we have the face value which is fixed at 100. And if n is given, then our I is in the denominator and our price is on the left hand side of our equation. So we see a negative relationship between the interest rate and the price of the bond. As the interest rate goes up, the price of bond will decrease, and if the interest rate goes down, the price of the bond will increase. So the most common maturity of a T-bill is 6 months. The Treasury does not issue them with a maturity greater than 1 year. Now the shorter is the time period, the higher will be the price paid for that particular T-bill. यानी अगर हम एग्जाम्पल लेना चाह रहे हैं, एक बॉन्ड with the same face value with a maturity of 1 year and the same bond with the same face value but the maturity of 6 months, so we can show that with the help of this calculation. Assume that interest rate is 4%. Now the price for the 1 year Treasury bill will be equal to 100, face value is 100. So 100 divided by 1 plus 0.04 and that is equal to $96.15. If we now go for a shorter duration maturity which is 6 months. So 6 months के लिए same face value of 100 and when we discount it we will have 100 divided by 1.04 to the power 1 by 2 because now we are talking about 6 months. So the price is equal to 98.06. Now the interest rate and the price has one relationship and then if the interest rate remains the same and we talk about the maturity of the bond. So the shorter maturity bond has a higher value in comparison to a longer maturity bond. And then we talk about the relationship between the interest rate and the price. As I already said, this relationship is an inverse relationship. If the interest rate goes up, the price of the bond goes down. If the interest rate goes down, the price of the bond is supposed to go up. And now we talk about another category of the bond. Now another category of the bond is fixed payment loans. Now these fixed payment loans, they promise a fixed number of equal payments at regular intervals. और इसमें जैसे कि पहले हमने एग्जाम्पल ली कार लोन्स की एंड मॉर्गेज पेमेंट की कि व्हाट वी आर डूइंग इन दिस टाइप ऑफ लोन्स इज ऑन रेगुलर इंटरवल्स अ फिक्स्ड अमाउंट इज रीपेड और वो फिक्स अमाउंट जो है हम कहते हैं इज अमोर्टाइजेशन ऑफ अ लोन कि जो हमने लोन लिया है हम उसको अमोर्टाइज करते हैं ओवर अ सर्टेन नंबर ऑफ ईयर्स. तो वो जो पेमेंट होती है जो फिक्स्ड अमाउंट है इट हैज टू पोर्शन. The first component is the interest payment and the second component is the repayment of the original amount. How do we find the price of this particular type of loan? The price is just the present value of the future payments which we are going to make in future. अब इसके लिए formula हमारे पास क्या होगा? That we have reflected on this slide. कि value of a fixed payment loan is equal to fixed payment in the first time period discounted by 1 plus I plus the fixed payment in the second time period divided by 1 plus I to the power 2 and we go for the n. N is the number of payments. So we have the last payment will be the fixed payment divided by 1 plus I to the power n. अब n जो है हमारा can be even in number of months. There is no such restriction कि हमारा time period is always 1 year. जैसे कि टी बिल में हमने कहा था कि हमारा टाइम पीरियड कैन बी इवन 6 मंथ्स एंड मोस्टली हमारे इस तरह के लोन जो है जो कि रेगुलर इंटरवल पे हम एक फिक्स्ड अमाउंट पे करते हैं दे आर ऑन मंथली बेसिस. सो आर एन जो है that moves with the number of months. और जब हम उसकी प्राइस की बात करते हैं तो प्राइस should be equal to the present value of all of those fixed payments which we are going to make in future. उसके बाद हम बात करते हैं कूपन बॉन्ड्स की. अब हमारा जो कूपन बॉन्ड है इसमें दो चीजें हैं. नंबर वन, आफ्टर रेगुलर इंटरवल्स we receive certain amount as the coupon payment. And how do we calculate the coupon payment? याद होगा we said कि हमारे बॉन्ड के दो तीन इंपॉर्टेंट फीचर्स हैं. नंबर वन, उसकी फेस वैल्यू क्या है. नंबर टू, उसका कूपन रेट क्या है. नंबर थ्री, उसके मैच्योरिटी पीरियड जो है वो क्या है. तो कूपन पे जो है आपका रेट नॉर्मली इज एक्सप्रेस्ड एज परसेंटेज. तो कूपन पेमेंट हम किस तरह कैलकुलेट करते हैं. दैट परसेंटेज मल्टीप्लाइड बाय द फेस वैल्यू इज द कूपन पेमेंट. और वो पेमेंट जो है दैट इज मेड समटाइम्स आफ्टर 6 months एंड इन सर्टेन अदर टाइम्स मे बी आफ्टर 1 year. तो वो कूपन पेमेंट वी आर रिसीविंग आफ्टर रेगुलर इंटरवल्स. टाइम रिसीव द फेस वैल्यू. अब इनका पीरियड इज तो 5 years के बाद गोइंग टू रिसीव फेस वैल्यू. सो वी काउंट दैट एज वेल. अब इस कूपन की जो प्राइस होगी दैट विल बी द प्रेजेंट वैल्यू ऑफ ऑल द कूपन पेमेंट प्लस द प्रेजेंट वैल्यू ऑफ द मैच्योरिटी और द फेस अमाउंट. अब इन दोनों कंपोनेंट्स को जब हम एड अप करते हैं दैट गिव्स अस द प्राइस ऑफ अ कूपन बॉन्ड एंड दैट वी हैव रिफ्लेक्टेड ऑन दिस स्लाइड. The value of a coupon bond is the present value of the periodic interest payments in the form of the coupon plus the present value of the principal repayment at maturity. So we say PCB, price of a coupon bond, is equal to coupon payment 1 plus I to the power 1 plus coupon payment 2 1 plus I to the power 2 going up to n time periods. We have coupon payment n divided by 1 plus I to the power n. Now plus the face value divided by 1 plus I to the power n. हमारा जो पहला कंपोनेंट है for this price of coupon bond that resembles to one particular payment जो अभी हमने बात की है कि रेगुलर इंटरवल पे जो हम फिक्स्ड अमाउंट का लोन फिक्स्ड पेमेंट करते हैं एक पर्टिकुलर लोन के लिए. So it resembles to that. Second portion जो है that resemble to the zero coupon bond. Adding them together gives us the present value or the price of a coupon bond. अब इसके बाद हम एक और तरह के बॉन्ड की बात करते हैं and that bond is known as the consol. अब जो हमारे कंसोल हैं they are not very common because here we are talking about a particular scenario जिसमें हमारे पास a payment is received after regular intervals but it doesn't have any maturity period. So only payment received from the purchase of such a type of bond is the regular amount, a fixed amount after certain time periods. अब time period जो है हमारे वो infinite है. So we go for finding out the present value or the price of a console. What we have to do is we have to take all those payments and then discounting them in terms of today. So we'll have infinite number of expressions. So it becomes very difficult to find out the value. So how do we do it? Theoretically speaking, it is difficult. But practically speaking, as we move farther and farther away from present towards the future, what happens? The coupon payment to the power divided by 1 plus I to the power say 100. So 1 plus I to the power 100 that becomes a very very small amount. And therefore हमारे पास क्या होगा कि वो जो अमाउंट होगी प्रेजेंट वैल्यू वाली वो नेग्लिजिबल हो जाएगी. As we approach to infinity, the present value of that farther away future payments जो है उसकी वैल्यू कम से कम होती चली जाती है. Therefore, we have developed a formula which is commonly used to value such type of consoles, जिनको हम perpetuity भी कहते हैं. क्या regular amount is received forever in future. तो उसकी अमाउंट हम वैल्यू या प्राइस किस तरह कैलकुलेट करते हैं? That we say कि price of a console is equal to yearly coupon payment divided by I. अब जब हम yearly coupon को divide करते हैं by I, so what do we get? The present value of that console. When it comes to the real life scenario, the corporations normally they do not issue console. What is the reason behind that? कि normally उनकी acceptance जो है in the general public is very low. Only government is the agency which can keep on making that payment forever. So console की जो practically हमारे पास forms available हैं, they are only issued by the governments. So having done this analysis regarding finding the price of a bond, we need to look at the return. कि another aspect to analyze the bond, कि bond का return जो है हम किस तरह calculate करते हैं. तो अब हम ये देखेंगे कि हमारा investor जो bond में invest करता है, उसका rate of return क्या है. उसको हम किस तरह से जो है वो calculate करते हैं. Now having the information about the face value and the payments, what we receive during the life of the bond and at the maturity, we can calculate the rate of return for the investor. और वो जो rate of return for the investor है, that is reward for the investor, but it is the cost from the point of view of the issuer or the borrower. अब उसको हम किस तरह से calculate करते हैं? We can divide the rate of return calculation into two main categories. One is the calculation of yield to maturity and the calculation of the current yield. तो आज के लेक्चर में we'll focus on the maturity. इंशाल्लाह next lecture will calculate yield to maturity जो है, how do we calculate it and what do we mean by it basically. जैसे कि लफ्ज कह रहा है yield to maturity, that means कि rate of return till the maturity of the bond. Rate of return if up to investor purchase a bond and the rate which that will going to are known as the yield to maturity. अब yield to maturity हम किस तरह लिखते हैं? हमें प्रॉपर्टीज के साथ उसकी समझ है are also known. तो जो discount rate is going to discount the future payment so that वो सारी पेमेंट समर के बजाय प्रेजेंट वैल्यू या प्राइस के, तो दैट इज नोन एज द yield to maturity. So this is the yield bondholders receive if they hold the bond to its maturity when the final principal payment is made. So what is the formula here? The price of 1 year 5% coupon bond is equal to. Now what we have here is, for simplicity, हमने n को 1 लिया. We are only saying there is a bond, उसकी face value is 1 year, उसका face value is 100 and उसका maturity period is 1 year. तो उसकी yield to maturity हम किस तरह calculate करेंगे? That becomes bit simpler. Once the idea is clear, then we can talk about bonds with maturity of more than 1 year. तो उसमें क्या करेंगे? अगर हमारा coupon rate जो है that is 5%, तो हमारी coupon payment कितनी हुई? $5. $5 और उसकी present value which is 1 plus I and plus maturity or the face value 100 और उसकी present value discounted at 1 plus I. तो उसको हम लिखेंगे कि the price of 1 year 5% coupon bond is equal to 5 divided by 1 plus I plus 100 divided by 1 plus I. The value of the I or the interest rate which solves this equation is the yield to maturity. Now we can assume different prices. If the price of the bond is $100, then the yield to maturity will be equal to 5%. यानी अगर हम bond की equation में इसे 100 is equal to 5 over 1 plus I plus 100 over 1 plus I. So that I which we are saying as yield to maturity is going to be exactly equal to 5%. तो अगर price of the bond is equal to the face value, then we can say कि हमारी yield to maturity is equal to the coupon value. Now since the price rises as the yield falls, when the price is above 100, the yield to maturity must be below the coupon rate. पहले हमने कहा कि हमारा इंटरेस्ट रेट एंड द प्राइस जो है दे मूव इन द ऑपोजिट डायरेक्शन. अगर हमारा इंटरेस्ट रेट फॉल कर जाए तो क्या होगा, हमारी प्राइस बढ़ जाएगी. और इसी पर्टिकुलर बॉन्ड की जो कि 100 प्राइस है, हम कहें बढ़ जाए मोर देन 100 तो क्या होगा. तो उस सूरत हाल में हमारी यील्ड टू मैच्योरिटी जो है वो कूपन रेट से कम हो जाएगी. एंड देन द अदर साइड ऑफ द पिक्चर कि अगर हमारी प्राइस जो है it falls below 100, then what will happen to the yield to maturity? So since the price falls as the yield rises, when the price is below 100, the yield to maturity must be above the coupon rate. यानी कि we see the inverse relationship between the interest rate and the price of the bond. अगर हमारी price of the bond falls below 100, तो क्या होगा, हमारी yield to maturity will be above the coupon rate. इसी सारी calculations को we can show on this particular slide. कि let's assume कि coupon rate is 5%. Now if our YTM stands for yield to maturity. If the YTM is 5%, then price is 5 divided by 1 plus 0.05 plus 100 divided by 1.05 is equal to 100. So this is our first case. Okay, if our price is exactly equal to face value, which is 100, then our yield to maturity will be equal to the coupon rate. In this case, that is 5%. Now, if the yield to maturity is 4%, then definitely price is going up. So the price goes 100.x here. The R is now the maturity, and that is 4%. So we see an inverse relationship, and we say now that yield to maturity is less than the coupon rate. Then if the YTM is 6%, then the price is equal to, use same formula, 1996. So when the price is less than face value, then the yield to maturity is less than the value. Overall, अगर हमें summarize ना हो in relationship को, we are going to do on this slide. If the yield to maturity equals the coupon rate, the price of the bond is the same as its face value. If the yield is greater than the coupon rate, then the price is lower than the face value. Number 3, if the yield is below the coupon rate, then the price is greater than the face value. So that summarizes our yield to maturity. तो इंशाल्लाह अगले लेक्चर में we are going to take an example and we'll calculate the yield to maturities and the different हमारे prices of the bond and we'll try to see the relationships. But आज के लिए we are going to end our lecture here. But before we totally say goodbye, I would like to summarize कि हमने आज के लेक्चर में क्या क्या टॉपिक्स जो हैं वो कवर किए. So briefly speaking, हमने आज बॉन्ड के बारे में डिस्कशन शुरू की. We started talking about the bond, we defined the bond and we said कि price of the bond जो है that is dependent on the characteristics of the bond. And then we talked about zero coupon bond और वहां हमने कहा कि उसकी price is equal to the future amount which we are going to receive. Then we talked about कि हमारे पास जो है फिक्स्ड अमाउंट की जो हम पेमेंट इक्वल पेमेंट करते हैं फॉर अ लोन, उनके लिए हमारे पास लीज, कार लीज, मॉर्गेज हाउसेस, दे वर द एग्जांपल्स एंड देयर वी सेड कि फिक्स्ड अमाउंट इज रीपेड आफ्टर रेगुलर इंटरवल्स. तो उनकी प्राइस विल बी इक्वल टू द प्रेजेंट वैल्यू ऑफ दोज फिक्स्ड पेमेंट्स व्हिच वी आर गोइंग टू मेक इन फ्यूचर. देन वी टॉक्ड अबाउट द कूपन बॉन्ड. अब हमारा ये जो कूपन बॉन्ड था, that was a combination of the first two. Coupon payment regular interval के बाद एक fixed amount थी, तो उसकी present value was just like the present finding the present value of the loans, जिसकी हमने fixed amount की regular interval के बाद payment करनी है. उसका जो second component था maturity value की present value या face value की present value, that resembles to the zero coupon bond. दोनों को जब हम इकट्ठा कर लेते हैं तो देन वी ट्राई टू फाइंड आउट द प्राइस ऑफ द बॉन्ड. एंड फाइनली हमने ये कहा कि हमारे पास अनदर टाइप ऑफ बॉन्ड इज अवेलेबल जिसको हम कंसोल कहते हैं एंड इट नेवर मैच्योर्स. फॉरएवर इन फ्यूचर फॉर एन इनफिनिट टाइम पीरियड वी कीप ऑन रिसीविंग अ रेगुलर अमाउंट एंड देन वी सेड प्रैक्टिकली स्पीकिंग इस तरह के बॉन्ड्स जो हैं दे आर नॉट इशूड बाय द प्राइवेट इंडिविजुअल्स एंड द कॉर्पोरेशंस, दे आर ओनली इशूड बाय द गवर्नमेंट्स। और उनकी प्रेजेंट वैल्यू फाइंड आउट करने के लिए या प्राइस फाइंड आउट करने के लिए वी सेड कि प्राइस इज इक्वल टू द कूपन पेमेंट्स वी रिसीव डिवाइडेड बाय द इंटरेस्ट रेट। And then we said, okay, let's look at the rate of return. If we know about the price, if we know about the payments we are going to receive, we can calculate the rate of return. और rate of return calculation में हमने कहा we can calculate two types of rate of return. One is the yield to maturity and the other is the current yield. Now the yield to maturity वाला component जो है we covered in today's lecture. And इंशाल्लाह अगले लेक्चर में we'll talk about the current yield. तो yield to maturity में हमने ये कहा कि this is the present value of the future amounts which we are going to receive if we know them and the principal which we are going to receive. इन सब को जो discount rate बराबर कर दे price of the bond के, तो that is the yield to maturity. The rate of return which an investor is going to earn if he or she holds the bond till maturity. और उसमें हमने मुख्तलिफ रिलेशनशिप्स को भी देखा और हमने ये कहा कि अगर बॉन्ड की प्राइस ज्यादा हो जाए तो then what happens to the yield to maturity? And then we compared the yield to maturity to the coupon rate. और उसमें सिंपल बेसलाइन हमारी ये थी कि अगर हमारी करंट प्राइस इज इक्वल टू द फेस वैल्यू तो देन हमारी yield to maturity is going to be equal to the coupon rate. तो ये तो था हमारा आज का लेक्चर। इंशाल्लाह अगले लेक्चर में we'll talk about the current yield and then we are going to look at कि how the price of the bond is determined in the marketplace. We'll talk about the demand, we'll talk about the supply and then how the equilibrium price is determined and finally what are the factors which can shift the demand curve and which can shift the supply curve. तो आज के लिए डॉक्टर तलत को इजाजत दीजिए। अल्लाह हाफ़िज़।